United
He started a
Independence
political
Congress of
party,
Jamaica,
and he
UIC.
registered the other day. And when I heard your presentation to the public, what I heard was I'm dissatisfied with the way things are. And part of my dissatisfaction is what I perceive to be high levels of corruption and the fact that our public officials have betrayed us as a people. How did you come to that conclusion? What was it that you saw that led you to conclude that something is wrong here, I need to do something about it?
Well, if you look at the evolution of Jamaica, we have always had a situation where the majority of Jamaicans are less fortunate, and a small minority of Jamaicans continue to have greater access to power, greater access to financial resources. And that speaks to something which is systemic. And I don't think we have ever turned a corner on the colonial model of master-slave economics, where, take for example, our current political model. Only those who have a lot of money have any chance of winning. That's a system problem. If you are going to avail yourself of the law, only those who have a lot of money are able to access the legal system in the ways that would protect them. So it tells me that we have a systemic problem. And I've watched this as a child growing up with a single mother, a poor single mother, and seeing how she struggled to make ends meet. And no matter what she does, if she doesn't have somebody in power that's going to look out for her and give her a break, then she's not going to make it. And that obtains for the vast majority of Jamaicans. Everything is about connection. It's about who you know, as opposed to having a system of objective laws that applies to every Jamaican equally. I know Gavin just said that the law says that we're equal. Well, what a law says and what actually obtains are two different things. So the law says that we're equal, but the practice of the law does not treat us equally. Okay. And what we want is a set of laws that are truly objective, and then when they're applied objectively, regardless of one's financial position.
Joseph, when we talk about, Mr. Pattison, when we talk about corruption, typically we hear, let's just get rid of all of these politicians. This will fix it. It's the politicians that are problematic. What is the problem?
Sure. The problem of corruption in Jamaica is one of system design. If you were to look at a company situation, a company that has good internal controls have less incidents of theft and corruption. A company that has bad internal controls have more incidences of corruption and theft. And those companies tend to do very poorly and then go out of business. If you look at Jamaica as a business, how well have we done? Let's compare ourselves with a similar country. Singapore in 1965, they got independence from Britain. We got it in 1962. We had a GDP per capita then of 550. Singapore had a GDP per capita of 550. Look at us today. Singapore has a GDP per capita of over 63,000 US per person. We have between 7,000 and 9,000 per person. Why is that? Singapore focused on ensuring that they had a zero tolerance for corruption, and they ensured that they had the rule of law that was enforced rigidly and without excuse, and nobody was exempted from that. As a result, they created a safe, clean, and orderly environment that any person in Singapore can achieve their maximum potential. They also invested in a high-quality education system that brought the standard of discussion and governance in the minds of Singaporeans to a level where politicians were kept in check. We in Jamaica, what have we done? We have created an environment where we have divided our people into two tribes, and they're fighting each other consistently. We have a low-quality education product, which means most Jamaicans cannot engage in the dialogue properly about good governance and what it means. And we end up with a productivity level that's very low and a crime level that's very high. Singapore has low crime. They also have high economic output, and they have very low corruption. They're, in fact, almost #1 in the world. We in Jamaica need to learn from them. And first of all, change our political system so that we curb corruption by having effective checks and balances.
Understood. Singapore paid a heavy price, though. And so, Montel, I don't know. We hear that often.
I'd love to hear the heavy price that they
We cite Singapore all the time. I heard Orlando Pattison the other day talk about the fact that this issue of crime and violence and the disorderliness, it would appear, of democracies is particular to democracies. because of the nature of democracies. So is it then, from your critique, I'm hearing that what we are having is really a problem with democracy? Is it that we need a different kind of political system? I'm coming to you. To bring about the kind of anti-corruption initiatives that will really see the Jamaican state growing in a way that will bring about the orderly society that we imagine.
There's no doubt for me that we need a new system and we need new leadership. We need to step back, as my friend here has said, and look at the system we have that we've inherited from our colonial masters, which has been continued to today, and say, is this right for Jamaica? I can assure you, it's not right for Jamaica. What Jamaica needs is a system built by Jamaicans for Jamaica to realize the aspirations of all Jamaicans. The Prime Minister's decision to give himself and the other fraudulently elected members of Parliament a raise of over 100, 200, or even 300% in his case, while the vast majority of Jamaicans are suffering the effects of nearly 8 years of bad governance under both the JLP and PNP, can only be described as wicked, heartless, and inhumane. Having borrowed on the heads of the Jamaican people trillions of dollars that were misappropriated, stolen, or wasted, the JLP and PNP have concluded that it is in our best interest that they be given a big pay raise. We know that both parties have colluded to hide from us the facts of FinSAC and other ways that they have fleeced the nation. And here they are with another stunt. The JLP and PNP have robbed us of our lands, yes, that their colonial masters stole from our ancestors by forcing us to slave at low wages to buy back the very lands that were already ours by birthright. These two colonial parties, with the full backing of the PSOJ oligarchs and their foreign masters, used partisan politics to divide us and distract us so that they could steal our wealth from us. They tricked us with land lease. They tricked us with the NHT. They tricked us with all kinds of political government schemes. In fact, 75% of those who contribute to the NHT will never get a benefit, and many Jamaicans will never be able to own a house under their convoluted plan. They could not maintain the JOS bus system. They had to sell Air Jamaica. They cannot manage our airports. They sold out our tourism product and various industries to foreigners. They killed the agriculture industry, such as coffee, banana, and sugar. They cannot manage crime, nor the dollar. They cannot give us a good education system or decent health care. They cannot provide us quality, affordable homes or roads. In short, unless we're forced to pay toll, of course. In short, they can do nothing. They have run our economy into the ground and made us more of a third world country than we were 60 or 80 years ago. Why then should we reward failure with 100%, 200%, or 300% pay increase? They deserve to be fired permanently. In fact, they deserve to be charged, prosecuted, and punished for making themselves and their PSOJ backers wealthy at our expense.